Welcome back to CBS This Morning. Tens of millions of Americans will drive or fly for the Thanksgiving holiday despite the pandemic, according to AAA. CBS News has learned the TSA expects to screen more than 6 million people in the days ahead. That's leading to concerns about an even bigger surge in the virus nationwide. Kris Van Cleave reports now on how families are responding.
A socially distanced Thanksgiving came early for Laura Douglas's family, celebrating outside in October.
Now the numbers are really rising very, very sharply. And even just having it this coming weekend, I think we would have felt very threatened about getting together.
There were fewer guests. Visiting family were spaced apart at separate tables, and masks were worn. It allowed the family to be together, but not too close together.
My mother is a cancer patient. So she's at high risk, and we knew that there would be no way to spend time with my parents if we didn't figure out something that was very, very different.
This year will be different. AAA's newly released Thanksgiving travel forecast expects up to 50 million will travel, down at least 10% from last year. 95% will drive as people opt for last-minute trips and stay closer to home.
Right now, what's really determining the factor if people decide to go or stay are the number of COVID cases as they increase, but also looking at state restrictions.
AAA believes those flying will drop nearly 48%, but airlines are gearing up for their busiest stretch since the start of the pandemic. This travel holiday comes as the CDC warns even small household gatherings are an important contributor to the rise in COVID-19 cases. 50 million people hitting the road sounds like reason for concern, doesn't it?
It's a big concern because, again, when people mix from higher prevalence of COVID to lower, you end up raising the level at the low COVID places.
Former CDC Director Dr. Thomas Frieden.
Unfortunately, because so many people may get together during Thanksgiving at a time when COVID rates are so high, we might see explosive spread through the month of December, and the December holidays would become a very unmerry Christmas.
We know millions of people are going to gather for Thanksgiving. The CDC is urging people to keep those gatherings small to your immediate household or a small group of close contacts, ideally who live in the same area you do. The CDC also recommends keeping a mask on when you're not eating, trying to be outdoors if possible. If you're inside, open as many windows as you can to increase ventilation, and stay out of tight or cramped spaces. And for many of us, that means staying out of the kitchen. Gail?
Well, you don't have to worry about me being in the kitchen, but I do think it's very important to keep emphasizing the advice that you're giving us, Kris Van Cleave. All the experts say the safest way to travel is by car with people that you know. But I want to take a minute to talk about air travel. Can you talk about the safety of air travel these days? Because a lot of people will be traveling, even though you're told stay home. But what about the safety of air travel? Is it okay?
Absolutely. We've seen a growing number of studies come out in the last month or so that reinforce that between the mask mandates that the airlines are enforcing and the ventilation systems on board, they have a hospital-grade HEPA filter, and the way that they move air, refreshing cabin air every 2 to 3 minutes, that the risk of spread is relatively low. So, I mean, keep in mind, you are getting into a metal tube with other people,
right.
But research continues to show that it is a low-risk effort, at least from the gate to the gate. The places where you might run into risk is if you get too, if you let your guard down in the Uber on the way to the airport, or while you're at the airport, or as you're getting to your destination after you get off the plane. So you have to look at it as a whole process where you're on guard the entire time. But it appears, based on the research we keep seeing, that the gate-to-gate experience, if you will, on board the plane is relatively low risk.
All right. Got it, Kris Van Cleave. Thank you very much. The most important thing you can have in your arsenal these days is a mask. We can all get one of those, a variety of price ranges. Thanks again, Kris.